Good morning, everyone. Matthew with Be Different, and today's Friday. Love me some Fridays. Anyhow, so had a great workout today, so I'm feeling pretty good. Anyhow, so I was praying this morning, and my mother had sent me an email about the effects of prayer. Even doing 30 seconds of prayer, how it positively affects your day, and just being thankful for what God has given you, even if it doesn't feel like He's given you much. We have a lot to be thankful for: life, health, spiritual freedom. That He gave us the free will to choose to freely love Him. Those things you can easily be thankful for. Your family, the fact that you are not dead. There's the start. So so when I read that article, I truly believe it, because when I get up in the morning, I'm thanking God for life, for protecting my family, for providing for us, for taking care of us, and that I have a job which I enjoy doing. All the gamut of things, and I pray over my house, and I pray over my family and my marriage and my kids. So it's those things are very important to me, and I want to see them grow and continue to follow God, as I would want for them, because I always want something better than I have, and I want them to have a deep personal relationship with God and to grow closer. So anyhow, side note, the scripture I want to bring to you today is James 3:13. It will start, and it says, "Who in your community is understanding and wise? Let his example, which is marked by wisdom and gentleness, blaze a trail for others. If your heart is one that bleeds dark streams of jealousy and selfishness, do not be so proud that you ignore your depraved state. The wisdom of this world should never be mistaken for heavenly wisdom. It originates below in the earthly realms with the demons. Any place where you find jealousy and selfish ambition, you will discover chaos and evil thriving under its rule. Heavenly wisdom centers on purity, peace, gentleness, deference, mercy, and other good fruits unattained by hypocrisy. The seed that flowers into righteousness will always be planted in peace by those who embrace peace." And what kind of hit me about this particular scripture is it was verse 17. And it said, "Heavenly wisdom centers on purity, peace, gentleness, deference, mercy, and other good fruits unattained by hypocrisy." So hypocrisy means the opposite of God, essentially. If you don't believe in God, those kinds of things don't necessarily exist for you. But we want to be wise. Ask God for His wisdom, and He will give it to you. That's also scripture, that He will give you wisdom. All you have to do is ask. And a lot of times it's hard to ask, even for me, because especially when it comes to technology and computers, a lot of times my mind is thinking, you should know this, you should know how to do this. And it's not necessarily a cocky perspective. It's not saying, oh, I can figure that, I don't need instructions or manuals. I read manuals and instructions all the time. The fact is that if I run up against a problem that I can't figure out, I'm thinking to myself, I'm better than this problem, I know it. And a lot of times if I step back and ask God for help, all of a sudden I get an idea I never had before, and I'm like, well, thank you. Well, that obviously wasn't for me. I mean, it could possibly be that I took a step back and walked away from the problem and came back and had a fresh perspective. But my ideas typically come in the weirdest positions. I'll be working on a problem, can't figure it out, go home, a little deflated because I can't figure it out, and I'll dream about it. And sure enough, I dream about a solution, and I'll go attack it, and I'm telling you, 9.9 times out of 10, it's the solution. And I know that I did not organically just come up with that solution. It's a different way of looking at things, that God has my mind's eye look at it a different way. And most of the time, it's like, oh, okay, now I get it. And it's just little subtleties, little things that I didn't notice, because I'm focused on the big problem. I don't notice the little things. And what's funny about that particular situation is that it's always the little things that spoil the vine. It's always the little things that get in the way of the big projects. You never have something big really go down. It's always something little all the time causing disruption. And to find that needle in the haystack is sometimes very difficult and time consuming. And with God's help, I know that He's helped me in many situations. And we want to have God's mindset and be constantly connected to Him. In the morning when I pray, that is my time to connect with God and say, God, listen, I'm so thankful for what you've done for me. I'm thankful that you let me live another day to glorify you. And every day I struggle. I struggle to recognize Him. I struggle to focus on Him, because I'm so caught up in what I'm doing that I don't pay Him enough attention. And I'm just as guilty as anyone else, and I'm working on it. And I'm praying that God increases my attention span for Him, and I don't have like ADD on Him, and just hi God, bye God, and that's it. And so today I want you guys over the weekend to try and focus, and anymore it's so popular to not spend time with your family, to not connect with your kids, to plop them down in front of the TV and not invest time in them. In this day and age, time and positive influence with your children and your spouse is more important than ever before. In this society, we're so plugged in, we're so on our phones, we're so in front of the computer right here, we're so just caught up in the day-to-day that we don't pay attention to what matters. And before you know it, it's gone, and you have no time. You felt like, where'd all the time go? And the time is spent here, it's spent in front of things that will always be there. Work will always be there. Computers, technology will always be there. I'm really preaching to myself, truthfully. And we need to focus on what matters. So today, I want you guys to ask for God's wisdom in your life. Let His peace envelop your body and your mind and your heart, surround you. Know that God's got your back. He's in control. And you guys have a great weekend. Be different, everyone.